The day I saw those police cruisers rolling up my driveway, demolition notices waving from their hands, I knew Karen Peaton had finally snapped the rubber band one too many times. This was her big play. You could see it written all over her face, arms folded tight in that ridiculous neon pink HOA vice president polo, lips curled in a smirk she probably practiced in the mirror. There was already a crowd, some folks genuinely worried, some just there for the drama. All of them sucked into whatever spectacle Karen had cooked up now. "There it is, officers," she said, voice dripping with satisfaction, pointing like she was unveiling a crime scene instead of the little cabin I'd just finished out back. "That illegal structure has been blighting our beautiful Meadowvale estates for weeks. I want it torn down immediately." The lead cop, a tall guy with those serious, graying temples, looked over the complaint. "Ma'am, you're saying this violates multiple HOA bylaws and has no permits?" "Exactly." Karen almost bounced on her heels as vice president of Meadowvale Estates HOA. "I have a duty to protect our property values from rogue homeowners." You'd think she was defending the White House, not a subdivision. The officer turned to me. "Sir, are you the property owner?" I stepped up, keeping my cool like I'd learned over 2 decades as an architect. "Yes, officer, I'm James Sullivan. I've lived here 12 years. He nodded, starting into the legal spiel about violations, but I stopped him. "Before we go any further, you should know, as of 72 hours ago, I'm also the newly elected president of the Meadowvale Estates HOA. I swear, Karen went paler than cottage cheese left out in the rain mouth, opening and closing with nothing coming out. Let me back up a sec, because this circus didn't start with police and pink polos. 3 months ago, I was just living quiet in Meadowvale, designing buildings by day, keeping my garden alive on weekends, never once caring about HOA politics. All that changed the minute my dad called. He was 78, his health fading fast, needed to move close to family. Assisted living around here was either booked solid or cost more than most people's mortgages. The idea of sticking him in some gray box of an apartment, not a chance. So I drew up plans for a small cabin in my backyard, a real place just for him so he could have independence but still be close. 600 square feet, kitchen-wide doors, bathroom with grab bars, big windows overlooking the garden he taught me to care for as a kid. I even matched the siding and roof to the main house, tried to do everything right. I submitted those plans to the HOA's architectural committee like you're supposed to. Thing is, Karen had a reputation for sitting on applications she didn't like, but I figured rules are rules, and this fit every one-size setbacks aesthetics. At that point, the big news was our longtime HOA president, Robert Daniels, was stepping down. Karen assumed she'd step up, but our neighbors were sick of her nonsense, the fines, the threats, the way she'd made life hell for folks over garbage cans or a slightly off shade of beige. She'd even tried to ban sidewalk chalk, calling it graffiti. So when Tom Bradley and some others came knocking asking me to run against her, I thought, why me? But as I heard more stories, I realized sometimes you have to stand up. I ran on a platform of basic sanity, transparency, reason-building community, not just slapping fines. November rolled around, and to everyone's shock, including mine, I won by a landslide. Karen barely spoke after and refused to hand over some documents, but my term wouldn't officially start till January. Still, the board said I could sit in and get up to speed, so I kept pushing forward on the cabin. I got verbal approval from 2 of the 3 committee members in October. That's a majority, and by December the crew was pouring the foundation. I even got county permits. The neighbors, honestly, they rallied around it. Mrs. Chen brought cookies to the workers. Tom helped unload lumber. People got it, especially after I explained it was for my dad. But Karen, man, you'd think I was building a meth lab. She started with letters on HOA letterhead she wasn't allowed to use anymore. Claimed I was breaking bylaws that didn't exist, tried to spook everyone with talk of undesirable renters. When that didn't work, she called meetings to spread rumors, took pictures of the site every day, looking for dirt, even tried to get my contractor to quit by threatening him with some made-up HOA blacklist. But she wasn't finished. 3 days before I was officially president, she took it nuclear, called the county, claimed to be the HOA president, filed a report about illegal construction and stop work orders that never existed, forged up some new fake HOA bylaws, and for the grand finale called 911 about an immediate neighborhood hazard. She demanded demolition, said it was all approved, and here we were, police in my driveway, Karen beaming. The lead cop, after recovering from the whole, "Actually, I'm the HOA president," twist, said, "We still need to verify these permit issues." "No problem." I handed him a folder with every permit, every approval, the whole trail, even the certified mail receipt, where Karen herself signed off on getting the application last fall. He looked them over, careful as a surgeon, while Karen sputtered about forgeries. "That's interesting," I said, "because you signed for these on September 16th. Karen's face went from white to fire engine red. The officer looked at her hard. "Ma'am, did you file a false report and claim to be the HOA president?" Her silence told the story. "Call off the demolition crew," he said to his partner. Then to Karen, "Filing a false report is a serious matter. You may want to contact an attorney." I wasn't done. "Officers, as incoming president, I'm calling an emergency board meeting tonight. This whole neighborhood deserves to know what's been going on." Karen tried to argue, but I'd memorized the bylaws and emergencies. The new president can call a meeting within 48 hours. And I'd say forged documents and police in the driveway qualify. That night, Meadowvale Estates packed out the community center, standing room only, people buzzing. Karen tried to act like she still had authority, but her hands shook as she sorted useless papers. I called the meeting to order, thanked everyone, then laid out everything: the fake documents, the lies, the threats, the calls to the county and cops, the abuse of HOA resources. The room went dead quiet. "This is more than overzealousness," I said. "It's a fundamental abuse of your trust." I moved for Karen's immediate removal as vice president. The vote unanimous. Even her old buddy Janet, the treasurer, raised her hand against her. The community vote even more lopsided. Karen stood up, chair screeching. "This is a witch hunt," she said, voice cracking. "I've given 5 years to protecting this neighborhood." "No, Karen," I told her. "You've spent 5 years bullying your neighbors under the pretense of standards. There's a difference." As she stormed out, I called after her. "And you should expect to hear from the county prosecutor and the HOA's attorney about your actions." She froze at the door, tears streaming, looked so small for the first time since I'd known her. After that, the meeting turned upbeat. We actually got stuff done. New policies for approvals, an appeals process, even planned a community barbecue for spring first event to be held at my dad's new cabin. Folks came up afterwards sharing their stories. Mrs. Chen hugged me. Tom told me I'd brought more balance than they'd ever expected. 2 weeks later, as I helped Dad move into the finished cabin, he looked out over the garden and said, "Your mother always said you'd make a good leader. Just took the right push." I laughed. "Dad, I only wanted to build you a little house, not start a revolution." He grinned. "Best revolutions start small. One person standing up can change everything." About a month later, I got a letter from the DA. Karen was charged with filing false reports, identity fraud, misuse of emergency services. She lawyered up, but the evidence was a brick wall. The final board meeting before her court date was practically empty, the drama finally burning out. She pled guilty to lesser charges, $5,000 in fines, 200 hours community service, 3 years probation, and her real estate license was suspended pending review. But honestly, it was the public shame that hit hardest. I saw her at the grocery store, eyes darting away, scurrying out. Next day, for sale sign popped up. Within a week, she was gone, and Meadowvale started to breathe again. The spring barbecue was like something out of a movie, kids running wild, old-timers, laughing my dad at the grill, neighbors swapping stories. The cabin that nearly got bulldozed became the heart of the community, hosting everything from poker nights to birthday parties. And in that golden hour, Tom Bradley raised a toast to our new president for reminding us HOAs are supposed to build, not break. The cheers felt good, but the real win was seeing people happy, rules finally serving people, not the other way around. But the best twist, the one nobody saw coming, happened as I was cleaning up after the barbecue. I found a box of old HOA files Karen left behind, and at the bottom there, it was my cabin proposal with Karen's faint pencil mark in the corner. Approved. Nice design. Turns out she'd signed off on it herself and just forgot. All that money, all that drama, all those tears over something she herself had rubber stamped. I showed Dad and he laughed so hard he nearly cried. I shared that at the next board meeting and the whole room just lost it. Even Janet, her old friend, shook her head. All this because she couldn't be bothered to check her own files. So that's how Karen's reign ended. Not with a big legal showdown, but with her own arrogance and a forgotten approval. Sometimes you don't need a revolution, you just need to stand your ground and let the truth speak up. Now my dad's the neighborhood grandpa, the cabin's the new gathering place, and Meadowale's finally a real community again. And I'll bet wherever Karen landed, she's finally learning that leadership is about service, not control. The police never came with demolition orders again. Our disputes turned into conversations, not confrontations, and rules actually helped people instead of scaring them. But let's be real, this could happen anywhere. All it takes is one bully with a clipboard and nobody willing to push back. So what do you think? Was justice served, or did Karen get off easy? Did I do the right thing? Let's hear it. What's your take on HOA's power and what makes a real community? Drop your thoughts below, because if you ask me, this debate's just getting started.